It seems like everybody has heard about NFTs at this point, but most people seem to be asking themselves, why would anybody pay money for just a picture? But the truth is, they can be so much more. Today we will be talking about why so many people are going absolutely crazy for NFTs, and why right-click saving them is about as fruitful as right-click copying someone's name. Today we're gonna be talking about NFTs and defining them properly. My goal is to make this video the first one in a series of videos that will get you from somebody who's completely clueless on what NFTs are to an advanced beginner. Once you're done with this playlist, my hope is that you're not gonna be only able to talk about NFTs, but you're also gonna be able to pick one yourself and buy one yourself if you choose to do so. And without further ado, let's get into it. NFT. What an absolutely terrible choice of words. This is what it actually means. It's a unique digital ownership contract. So essentially, every single NFT is a unique digital good that is owned by someone. This is a super wide umbrella term. It's just like taking the smartphone and saying, this is electronics. Yes, of course it's electronics, but nobody would actually call it that. You would call it a smartphone. And that's the deal with NFTs. They're a super wide term. They could literally be any digital good you can come up with. They can be digital land ownership. They can be a JPEG, as you might know them. They could represent your lifetime ownership of a musician's master rights to a track. There's projects coming out right now that use NFTs to distribute the ownership of music master rights. In practice, this would mean if your favorite artist is coming out with a new track, you could buy 1% of the master rights and receive 1% of the royalties for the rest of your life. So don't box yourself in with thinking about NFTs only as pictures. And even if you're buying a JPEG, the team that is selling that JPEG can provide so much more. A famous example right now would be the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Right now their floor price is above 50 Ethereum, which is around $200,000. Why, you might ask? Because the team behind the project keeps delivering. Recently they had a boat party in New York where you only had access if you owned one of their NFTs.
Currently headed to the line to get a ticket to get onto the Bored Ape yacht. Holy
So they, for example, use them as entry tickets. And that's just the beginning of it. What you see on screen right now is called a project roadmap. Most NFT projects have these, and these are future promises that the team is going to keep working on for their NFT holders. Here, for example, you'll receive a full 3D model of your character to use in any future metaverses. And this is literally just scratching the surface. Now that we have the definition and some basic examples out of the way, I would like to look at a video here in the computer that illustrates a point really well that most people make. Usually the argument goes something like this. Well, it's fantastic that you own it, but it's only digital. I don't care about owning something digital. I want something that I can touch. I want something that I can put on my wall. I want something that I can put in my house. And to that point, I would say, yes, fair enough. You want physical things, right? Except when you whip out that little smartphone of yours and you start tipping around, and all of a sudden you're pretending for like, let's say, 2 to 4 hours a day, that this is your entire reality. These little devices have infiltrated our life like nothing else over the past decade. And Mr. Gary Vee makes an excellent point right here. Let's have a look.
The digital aspect of it, like you can't see it.
Well, you can't see a blue check on Instagram. I don't walk around the world with a blue check tattooed on my forehead, but everybody sees it. You can't see my 9 million followers on Instagram, or can you? I would argue the reverse. I would argue people can't see most of the fancy things you have in your house, that people can see more digital than they can real life.
Listening to this basic argumentation, that why would I care about owning a digital good, from people that all they do is rack up followers on their social media accounts, check their friends' stories, and oh my god, look at this picture, it got 200 likes. It's so ironic, isn't it? But yeah, I guess some things just take a little bit of time to sink in. And that brings me to my next point. I would like to take a second here to talk about different generations' perceptions of NFTs. Here's what I realized. Most of the people, almost all the people that instantly get it, where it just clicks and they participate in this revolution of owning things digitally. All these people just happen to be between 20 and 35. Now I asked myself, why is that? Why would this be the case? And after a while I figured out, wow, this makes so much sense. Every single person that grew up in the generation of games being a dominant part of our culture, every single person that grew up being 14 years old, playing World of Warcraft with your friends from school, you get home and you're raiding the Burning Crusade at night. Every single person that went to elementary school and was trading Pokemons with their friends via link cables. One of them had the Pokemon Yellow, one had the Pokemon Red, and all of a sudden they had to trade these Pokemons to get all 151 of them. All the people that traded baseball cards, football stickers, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, the list goes on. Get it? Like this. Now, I don't think that's a coincidence. All the examples that I just named are previous forms of digital ownership. These people have experienced this before, and not just on a surface level. They lived it. That's why when I entered the space, I instantly got it. It just made sense. I participated in all these movements that I just named, except the baseball cards. I always had a thing for collectibles, and I loved computer games, MMORPGs. I was always the type to try and collect all the Pokemons. And all of a sudden, blockchain technology is enabling us to own things digitally. You don't have to understand how blockchain works. You just have to know it's a piece of tech that allows you to own something digitally. That's all. And I would like to bring in a little bit of perspective here, because if you don't fall under this age bracket that grew up with a Game Boy Color, that was 12 years old when World of Warcraft was booming and all the boys at school were playing it. You were on TeamSpeak with 5 of your friends from your classroom, raiding every single night, just to get that epic horse that drops 0.1% of the time. And if you got it, you were running around the capital and you had the ultimate bragging right of, oh my god, I actually got that. And everybody was like, wow, respect. You solved something that is super hard and you got really lucky. Those are just real world values reflected into the digital realm. That's all that is. I quickly want to show you another clip. This has been a part of internet culture since over 15 years. What these guys are doing right here is a so-called mount off. In World of Warcraft, you get different vehicles. They're kind of like cars or bicycles, but they're purely aesthetic. There's no advantage to having some of these, except that some of them are very, very rare. And anybody that has played the game a lot, that has dedicated a lot of time, will instantly know that if you have one of these mounts, wow, you've done some hard things. So let's just have a look at what these guys are doing here.
39 people. Everybody must get on a mount that I get on. If you do not get on that exact same mount, you are kicked out of the group until only 2 players remain.
2 hours later.
I have like just a few more. I have only a few more mounts, man. Oh my, this is... He might not have this one. This is a very, very hard one to get. Come on. Shit. I'm running out of mounts, guys. This is my last one. Wait, do I have this one or not? Marrowfang. No. Congratulations. I'm kind of embarrassed right now. I need to farm a lot more mounts.
Now that's a piece of internet culture that you might not fully understand or feel when you haven't played this game. But all I want you to do is be aware that this exists. These people arguably care more about how many of these mounts they have than their physical health.
This is probably the most impressive mount collection that we've probably ever seen. Over 1,500 hours combined. I'm sure he means days. Holy f***ing shit.
Now it might sound crazy, but if you spend enough time in this world, it kind of becomes your reality. And the same status symbols that work in the real world all of a sudden get transferred into the digital realm, but they take a different form. So keep that in mind as we move forward. And to round things out here and give you a complete understanding of what NFTs are, I have to show you where they're heading. This map right here by Punk6529, one of the best resources when it comes to NFT knowledge on the internet, period. I'll include a link to one of his threads that you should definitely read up on. You're just gonna find a bunch of discussions that go way more in depth than we have time for here today. But essentially, this guy is a deep thinker that likes to share his thoughts. And it seems like all he thinks about is NFTs. So let's have a look at his projection of the past and the future of NFTs. What he's saying right here is that we're just at the very beginning, right? All the use cases of NFTs these days that you get to see that the media portrays are collectibles or art. Wow, a monkey profile picture. Wow, a pixelated picture of a duck. They're paying millions for 32 pixels. What the heck is going on here? I can just right-click save this. Well, yes, except no. You can buy a print of the Mona Lisa, but that does not mean you own the Mona Lisa. Now yes, there's a physical quality to that, but as we just saw here, not everybody values that physical quality. And that's what it really comes down to here. It's value systems. That's why all the young people get this and hop onto this trend, because they experience digital ownership. They experienced it physically.
I'm kind of embarrassed right now.
And look, I have nothing but empathy for people that grew up on bicycles and running around their house and playing with physical toys. But this new generation is just built a little different. TikTok, Minecraft, and funny memes are their culture. And that is not an assumption or an opinion, it's a fact. But if we just put those value differences aside for a second, we arrive at this map and we look at the fact that right now, I think this is very, very accurate. We're in between collectibles and art. Collectibles being things that you collect for the sole purpose of owning it. Let's say stamps or a piece of a unique collection like the CryptoPunks, which we're gonna talk about in the next video. And art being just super unique pieces that people emotionally connect to. Now, as we've seen with the gaming boom over the past month, with Facebook announcing their transition to the name Meta and all these AAA gaming studios hopping onto the metaverse trend, gaming is going to be the next big frontier here in NFTs. Everybody in the industry agrees that this is kind of where it's going. And the funny thing is that these next 2 points are kind of merging. Right now, today, if you look at the mainstream brands that entered the NFT space over the past 4 months, it's mind-blowing. Here's a quick non-exhaustive list. Nike, Disney, Quentin Tarantino, McDonald's, The Matrix, the list goes on. All mainstream franchises and brands are entering the space already. So yes, he was actually spot on here, gaming being kind of the next step. But brands actually kind of front-run it because gaming takes so long to develop. But most major gaming studios like Ubisoft, Epic Games, and many more are looking at NFT implementation and blockchain integration into their games, so all the assets that are in-game actually become ownable, sellable, and transferable. And just because we're so early and we're in between art and collectibles doesn't mean that these digital ownership contracts cannot contribute more to society than they are right now. Funny thing is, I don't know a single person that really took their time to dive into the space and that concluded, it's all worthless, I can just right-click save it. Those are opinions of people that glazed over it, read a headline, and passed quick judgment on it.
If you took a few hours to look into some of these projects, you would quickly realize these are not just pixels on a screen. They're actual human beings that choose to identify with some of these profile pictures, and there's chat rooms that you only have access to if you hold one of these NFTs. NFTs are a niche inside of a niche. And then if you pick a certain project, we're talking about a niche inside of a niche inside of a niche. And what that means is that all the people in the project went through a bunch of filters. In other words, they got heavily pre-screened. Firstly and most obviously for economics.
They get pre-screened for English language capabilities, Discord and Twitter usage. They get pre-screened for blockchain and technology affinity. If you combine that with the visual taste of a particular collection, the group of people you get is so narrow that you might just find yourself amongst a group of like-minded individuals. So yes, NFTs can be just a picture, or they can be property rights, or they could actually be community. And not just community, status in a community. And to me, most interestingly, they could be all these things at once. They could be a picture that represents your status in a community, your membership in that community, and all of this is provable to the entire world with one click. I wish you good luck right-click saving all that. See you in the next video where we'll be looking at some concrete examples of various NFT use cases on the internet right now.
Check it out.